In reality, um, I'm not really quite sure where to begin. But well, it's been a year, and they say time is undefeated, but I still don't feel right, and I know a lot of my family feels the same way. It's definitely been hard since my dad passed away. It's not been easy. Dad was the great uniter between all of us. And it's not to say we don't like each other. We absolutely love each other. It's just, he always made sure that we were in good spirits with each other. Like he never wanted us disagreeing, always in agreement kind of thing. Heck, even when me and my brother we'd wrestle, and Dad always liked wrestling, but he always didn't want us to hurt each other, so he would always be trying to break us up, even though we were just having fun, roughhousing as kids. And, um, yeah, it's been a year, that's for sure. Uh, so just to catch everyone up to speed, August 1st, 2020, my father, Salvador Posada, passed away. And it was pretty terrible. My dad, he was absolutely a dad. And those of you who have had good dads know exactly what I mean by that. He, I was the last one. He had me at 40, and I'm sorry, 45. And yeah, his coworkers would always make fun of him. They were always like, "Oh, Salvador, you don't know what you're doing. Having a kid so old, you're never gonna have a chance to spend time with him, raise him up. None of that stuff." They were absolutely wrong. Um, it almost felt like my dad took his time with me. And it's definitely a difficult place to be in, to not have my dad anymore. And well, a year has gone by since he passed away, and it's really not that much easier. I can only imagine what my mother is going through, because she lost her husband of over 50 years. But as me, I feel absolutely lucky and blessed and privileged to have had my father as long as I did. 30 years to the day, he was with me. Because I was born on August 11th, and I put him in the ground on my birthday this last year. 30 years. It's hard when you start thinking of time in decades, but I mean, I couldn't have asked for more. I couldn't have asked for a better father. I couldn't have asked for, yeah, I couldn't have asked for anything more. And my dad did a pretty bang up job, I'd like to think. He always made sure that I was emotionally capable of handling things. He always made sure that I would always be able to find my places of peace and solace and refuge. And I still remember waking up in the morning and hearing my dad, just praying for me, praying for everyone. Never forgot a name. All the people that would visit our church. My dad was a pastor, and someone visited our church 7 years ago on a random Saturday. He would pray for them every morning, remembering their name. It was uncanny. And the more names he remembered, the longer and longer his morning prayers got. And there were times where he'd start praying at like 6:30, 7 in the morning, or even earlier than that, and it wouldn't be done until about 11 o'clock. And people would start calling him, interrupting his prayers, but he was always happy to answer, because that was the burden he took as a pastor, was to be there for the people when they needed him. And he did that. When he passed away, I was getting messages from people all over the world, literally on multiple continents, and not just South America. I know everybody thinks that. No, I'm getting calls from like Europe and Asia and Africa, and from just people whose lives he touched, or people who could tell that he had an impact in my life, wishing me condolences for when he passed. And now he's gone. And it's a strange feeling, because I hear his voice, and I call it like I'll call it his echo. That's what I'll do. I'll call it his echo, because all the life lessons that he gave to me in the past, all the conversations he and I had, I'm hearing them now, even in little things that I do. Walk by a piece of trash, pick it up, because I still remember him being like, "Don't mess with Texas." I still remember him being like, leave a place, nicer and cleaner than you found it. Especially when it came to the church, you always you see something, pick it up, throw it away. And every time I see a little piece of trash now, I'm thinking of him saying, "Hey, Jacob, pick that up. Hey, go pick that up. Hey, go pick that up." I hear his echo when I'm paying my credit card statement. He's like, the lessons he taught me there: pay what you owe, and that's how you'll figure out what you have. He said his mom taught him that one. And it's just a weird thing, I know someone expects this. Time passes, and people get older and people pass with age. That's part of the cycle of life, but you just kind of always hope it never happens to you. And I was blessed because, I was able to process things, to think clearly. I always told Dad that it always felt like, everyone else had their gifts, and God just blessed me with the ability to not panic. And I remember taking him to the hospital. I was the last one of my family members to physically see him and hold him, and you kind of always think like, well, what else could I have done? But I know for most people that's not a question that they could answer, but someone like myself who works in the medical field, has medical training, and works as an EMT and firefighter and first responder, it's you always kind of think, especially when it comes to like your immediate family, like what affects you. But my dad was a fighter and fought to the end, and so now he's able to rest, and it's probably one of the most beautiful things in the world. And I think to what Dad would want from me, his youngest son, and I just think, so I have this last name that carries the weight with it, and I have these enormous shoes that feel like giant lakes when you try and step in them, and it's like vast caverns. And Dad, I really hope I make you proud. My dad, he never tried to force me to do anything, and always making sure that I was following my dreams, and that was his greatest joy, is when he knew that I was doing the things that fulfilled me. And I know for a lot of people, they're thinking all these worldly things. No, in reality, it was just the fulfillment that I got through service, like my military service, and the fulfillment. I mean, when I was 10 years old, right? So this is kind of what kicked it off, right? I was 10 years old. He bought me my very first drum set, and it's still right there against that wall. And I'm never getting rid of it, because 21 years later, here I am still playing drums, and I couldn't have done it without him, because he was the guy that saw me as a little kid at church looking at the drummer with big old doughy eyes, and he sacrificed, because if you play drums, they're the most expensive instrument, because every couple weeks or months, or depending on how often you play, things have to get replaced, and he sacrificed, but he made that little kid's dream come true, and he gave me a skill that I have to this day. My father was a very confident man. I would see him as a young boy. I'd see the way he would speak. I would see how friendly and how kind he was. And it's not that he was inherently kind. He chose kindness, and that's something that resonated with me, because I felt the same way. I felt like I'm not a normally kind person, but I wish to see kindness in this earth, so I will be kind. My father was a very peaceful man. He was not a harmless man. He was very peaceful, though. And I'm thinking of all the different personality traits and character traits that my father had, and he was probably one, if not the greatest human beings I will have ever had the privilege of meeting in my entire life. Up there with the greats. When he passed, I couldn't even bear the thought of leaving his body alone. So there I was every night, watching over him. Small, insignificant sacrifice. Because I don't know how many countless nights he watched over me. I was a little kid, a little angry kid with nightmares. I was a little angry kid with discipline issues. Through his guidance, though. Through his influence. I'm the man I am today, and I absolutely could not have done it without him. I'd probably be in some hole, some gutter somewhere, had it not been for him. And I just think now to all the things that I wish I could have had him around for. I'm not a father, but if I get blessed with a wife and with children, they're never going to meet him. These are things that I think about. And they've haunted me for so long, there's so many people I wish could meet him. People that don't exist yet. And now, my only hope is just so that they can feel like they have met him through the influence of me, because I am influenced by him, And I don't wish this video to drag on or anything, but my dad is a very, very, very awesome man. He was the greatest dad literally ever. And I wish I could just give him a big old hug again. And I know my dad, and I know the things that he loves seeing, and he loves seeing me in my Marine Corps uniform. This man supported me through everything, supported me through high school, supported me through my military career in the Marines, and then through the fire department. I mean, he was at every single one of my graduations because I was his son, and he was my dad. He was my dad. I miss you, Pops. I really do. And if you can hear me up there, thank you. I can't even list all the amazing things that you've done. They're too numerous. Thank you for being my dad. Thank you for being my pastor. Thank you for giving me the life you did. Thank you for building this church. Thank you for your influence. Thank you for believing in me. I don't want this video to really run on for too long, but I'll just say this last part. Had it not been for my dad, I know that thousands of souls would not have heard the message of Christ. And I think by far the most amazing thing he's ever done is spreading the name of God throughout the lands, over the airways, television, radio, internet. My dad was all over the place. He was podcasting before it was cool. And if you feel that there's something in your life that's missing, I encourage you to go to your local church, talk to a local pastor. Because I know for a fact my dad's influence did a lot, but God has done way more. And he can make impacts and changes in your life that no one else can. If there's any lesson my dad ever taught me, was that God is a greater Savior than I could ever be a sinner. And I encourage you, if you have not made that decision to turn your life over to God, there's no better day than today. Friends, family, thank you.